Hello, everybody. I would like to talk to you today about a new fan created format called Paragon. So, this format is from the mind of Kirk Hake back in the day. A gentleman by the name of Brian Hake used to lead up some of the design on Redemption for some of the older sets, like Apostles. And he has a son named Kurt. Kurt recently got back into the game of Redemption and has been thinking a lot about the game, especially the multiplayer format. So, Kurt announces the Paragon format in this article in Land of Redemption, which I'll link in the description. But Paragon is loosely based upon a couple of things. One is the Commander format of Redemption. It's a casual multiplayer format designed to tackle some of the problems traditional Redemption multiplayer has. And so if you want to read his excellent article where he talks about those problems, I'll also link that in the description too. So why does there need to be a new format? Kurt lists out all of his reasons why he thinks Paragon format could be appealing for people. And I'm not going to go over the exact details. I think the article does a great job of breaking it down. All right, so let's start hopping through the rulebook of Paragon because I think it does the best job of explaining what Paragon is and how it works. First of all, the sets you can use for Paragon are limited to the newest sets. Basically, anything after the K&L starter decks with the exception of the I and J starters. And if you're curious about what exactly these sets are, you can go to the deck list builder, redemptionccg.app/decklist. There's a Paragon format filter, which shows you all the different cards available to build Paragon decks out of. And the first thing you have to do when building your Paragon deck is choosing your Paragon. So let's go here to the list of Paragons. Each Paragon has a primary color and a primary color for offense and a primary color for defense. So let's just look through this list randomly here. Let's choose Job and let's look at Job. Each Paragon has a unique ability. So Job says restrict players from attacking during the first round of the game, while you control exactly one human hero, protect your characters from opponents' banish, capture, and convert abilities. So each Paragon's ability is tied to the hero itself. So Job is like taking things, slowing things down, only really incentivizing you to run one human, probably Job, and having effect that helps your offense and your defense. I'll link the full list of Paragons in the description, but there are quite a few of them. One for each offense and defense pairing color. So be sure to check that out. But anyways, the Paragon you choose will dictate the type of deck you can build. So let's look at Deborah, for example. See all these numbers in the middle right here? These dictate the number of cards you can have in your deck of certain brigade colors. So based on Deborah, you can have exactly 11 good aligned cards that are gold. So that means when you play a Deborah deck, your deck has to have 11 cards that are good, that have gold brigade in them. So what does this one mean, the 13? You also have to have 13 good aligned cards that are not gold. So think heroes, good enhancements, covenants, good dominance, good fortresses. But the thing with this number is they can't have gold in them. And the middle number there, the 5, that's the number of neutral aligned cards in your deck. Think artifacts, dual characters, dual enhancements. So you can put dual enhancements that contain gold as long as they're neutral. So that kind of helps bump your primary brigade color there. And then down here, that 9 is the number of evil aligned cards that are gray, and 12 is the number of evil aligned cards that are not gray. So all of these numbers should add up to 50, and the idea is you play with a 40 card deck with a 10 card reserve. So you can spread these number of good aligned cards and evil aligned cards between your main deck and reserve. Interesting enough, your deck cannot include any Lost Souls, not even the Hopper. The reason is, we'll get into this in a little bit, there's a shared Lost Soul deck. But you can still run 7 Dominance. You can't include multiple copies of any card. And no matter which Paragon you choose, the numbers on the Paragon card will always total 50. And 10 will be in your reserve, and the 40 is in your deck, and you can choose any of the cards in your deck except the Dominance to be in your 10 card reserve. So let's talk about the Soul deck. The Soul deck is made up of 21 distinct Lost Souls designed specifically for Paragon. And even though the Lost Soul deck does not belong to a player, it's still considered a deck. And any ability to play a Lost Soul from a deck can be used to play Lost Souls from the Lost Soul deck. At the start of every player's turn, you reveal, if there are fewer than 3 Lost Souls in play, you reveal Lost Souls from the top of the deck until 3 Lost Souls are in play. With captured characters and token Lost Souls do not count towards this rule 3. And once somebody rescues a Lost Soul, you immediately replace it with the top card of the Lost Soul deck, unless there are 3 or more Lost Souls in play. And the special thing about these Lost Souls, each one has a reward. If you rescue a Lost Soul with a reward ability, you get to use its reward ability. But if you also block and you win the block, you get to choose and use a reward of a Lost Soul in play. So this incentivizes attacking and blocking. So if we look at the Lost Souls, in this deck builder, I have a link to all the Paragon resources. So let's look at the Lost Soul deck here. And the idea is you take some existing redemption cards, Lost Souls, and you cut these out and put these over your Lost Souls. So for example, if I block and I successfully block, I could choose to use the build ability if the build Lost Souls doesn't play, which allows me to take a fortress from deck or reserve. Anyways, I'm not going to go through all the Lost Souls abilities and their rewards, just trying to paint a big picture of what Paragon is about and how it works. The game is meant to be played in multiplayer format, and if you're the first person who's playing, you don't draw 3 cards, but everybody else on their first turn, they draw their 3 cards, play goes in a clockwise direction, and the first person to get 5 redeemed souls wins the game. Your Paragons are kind of always around. They can't really be targeted or negated, but their effect just kind of stays around. And then there's some attacking and blocking going on, which I won't get into here. If you want to learn about this, feel free to check out the rules, which I'll link in the description. But let's get into the deck building stuff. So I'm going to go to my deck builder. I'm going to create a new deck. I'm going to select the Paragon format. I'm going to build a Job deck. And I built this deck builder so that people could build type 1 decks, but I also modified it so that people can easily try to build their Paragon deck. All right, so here we are. So right here we see the requirements for the Job deck. So it requires 13 silver cards, 9 brown cards. So we can start by filtering on the Paragon format and then searching for silver cards. So I'm not going to exactly build a deck here, but I'm just going to add some cards. So let's add some heroes. So you see how that number is going up. I got 5 out of 13. Let's keep getting those numbers up here until I get to the number 12. And the last one is 13. So now that's our silver requirement done. So now we need 11 other good cards. So let me get my dominance in, add Angel of the Lord here, Son of God, Isaiah's Call, and then I'm going to put some blue cards in here for Job. So yeah, I'm just getting that other number up there. And obviously you'd be a little bit more intentional about the cards you put in here to build along with Job's ability, which you can click on the picture of Job and his ability to pop up. Now we need 5 neutral cards. So we can click the neutral filter and I can choose any 5 of these here. Blood Avenger seems good, having Nereus or something. I don't know. Poison of Dragons, Selfish Belongings, and Stocks. Then we need 9 brown cards. Let's go to Paragon, Evil Brown. This list of characters are the brown cards I can play. So let me just add a bunch of good brown cards to there. Nice. And then we need 12 other evil cards that aren't brown. So I'm going to add a filter here, something that's not brown in the brigade. All right. So I set a filter, brigade not brown, Paragon evil. So now I have to have 12 of these. Right, Christian Martyr seems good. So what could pair with brown? I don't know. Something that bans my brown stuff. And this is where you're forced to get creative. King of Tyrus, let's put him in there. Get a Murder's Command going. If I was smart, I'd put a Malachite Slave in there. I have 5 dominance, so I can put 2 more. So let me grab Israel's Rebellion, Invade Philosophy. So now we're capped at dominance. Now let's figure out what else. Just put some random evil cards in there. You get the picture. Now I have 50 cards. The last thing I have to do is I have to put 10 cards in the reserves. So I have to move 10 of these cards to the reserve. So I'll put Madness in the reserve and I'll just put a bunch of random stuff in the reserve. And then I'll end up with a legal Paragon deck. The only thing I can't put in the reserve right now are the dominants. Okay, so I've done that. So we have all the checklists and there's no Lost Souls. So that simplifies the deck building process. And our reserve has 10 cards in it. So that's how you would build a Paragon deck in using the deck builder. So I'm going to save this. And I can even export it to Lackey if I want to play on Lackey Paragon with somebody. But mostly this is just helping people use the training wheels to build their Paragon deck. All right, is there anything else I wanted to talk about? If you haven't read Kurt's original article, please read that. He gives a lot more context about Paragon, how to get started. And Kurt is going to publish some more Paragon content on Land of Redemption if you're interested in checking out more. So thanks, Kurt, for making this format, and I'm excited to play it in multiplayer and excited to hear what you guys think of it. All right, I'll see you around.
It's you I can call on. All I need is your energy. It doesn't matter if things don't matter. I only need some faith, what my eyes can't see. Time will keep